Hey everybody, what's Kraken? Sorry, but it's Kraken week, and I'm excited to go deep with the most underrated adventure in D&D 5e. It's got everything. It's got political intrigue, spooky mysteries, undead, abominations, monsters of the deep, a wide variety of humanoids that aren't just, the goblins, kobolds, and orcs, your standards, plus, of course, adventure on the high seas. That's right, we're talking about the Ghosts of Saltmarsh. But first, I want to thank Into the AM for this awesome shirt. You can get it, or a dope Kraken shirt, or a ton of other awesome graphic tees and everyday essentials by clicking my link down below, and that will also save you some extra money. The Ghosts of Saltmarsh is actually an anthology of adventures from older editions gathered together and polished up, which means it's much easier to customize it or go cherry picking for your favorite parts to mix and match into another campaign or your own homebrew. If you've seen my series about Tales from the Yawning Portal, you know I love a good anthology. And this one has a Kraken in it. Plus, Sharkfolk, the Saugen. This is also the only adventure published in the last decade set in Greyhawk, which looks like the new setting for 5e2 or 5.24 or 5R, whatever we're calling this. Again, it's easy to drag and drop this whole thing. I ran my version originally on the Sword Coast, put Saltmarsh pretty much where Leilon is, right next to the Mirror of Dead Men. Did I mention adventure on the high seas? Because there's also boats in here. The party can actually snag their own in the very first adventure, and there's support for adding all of that into your game. We've got several ship stat blocks and upgrades and player roles and crew, morale, hazards, random events, island generation, a bunch of shipwrecks and other underwater locations. You could just skip like the first, 200 pages of this one, go right to the appendix, and you could run an ocean based adventure for months. Now, I will say, ship to ship combat, not my favorite. I think it's best to treat your boat as more of like a floating tavern and use it to turn travel into downtime and unlock that whole area of play a bit more. And when a fight breaks out, boarding happens very quickly, so the ship becomes the battle map. I'm hoping there's a video in this Kraken Week playlist that solves those problems, but so far I haven't seen a system that turns running a ship into an activity that's fun for all 5 people at the table. Any recommendations? Let me know in the comments below, please. When I was a less experienced dungeon master, I was worried about handing my players a boat because they could go anywhere. Now, I'm all right with that. I'm into that. But I'm also less worried about it because now I know Saltmark is such a great starting town. It's packed with interesting characters and factions vying for control, secrets, and flavor, flavor, flavor. If you want to get your players even more invested, go reaching for the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation to add some explosiveness to your game and connect the players deeper to this location. Grab the sailor spread, or maybe the pirate, or flavor a laborer as like a fisherman, a soldier as a naval officer, a cook as a cook, but like, on a boat. Man, I love this town, and give your players a reason to, and I'm sure they will love it as well. It's got big fish tails and like a peg-legged tempest priest and a shady magic item dealer. Why doesn't every town have one of those? Again, great starting location. Now, I think the best part about Ghosts of Saltmarsh is something most people don't expect to find here, and that is variety. My theory is the reason this book is so underrated and overlooked is that people kind of bounce off the idea of narrowing their campaign down too much by focusing on just nautical themes. But what you'll find in these pages is awesome oceanic stuff adding to, not replacing your typical D&D fare. In fact, there's more variety here than in most official adventures spanning 12 levels. Part 1, we get to explore a haunted house, discover it's being used as a home base for like a whole smuggling operation. We get the old Scooby-Doo NPC betrayal, but for once, it kind of fits. And then we level up and head out to take on the smugglers on their ship. Whether the players take the house, the boat, or both for their own. Not bad for third level characters, gang. We learn the smugglers were selling weapons to the lizard folk that have set up shop nearby. And now the town council obviously wants to know why, but they also don't want to start a war if war isn't already coming to them. So for once, we get like a diplomatic mission, not just go clear them out, kill them all. Can the party go and kill them all? Sure, but that's always built in, right? It's good to get some other options on the table first thing. The lizard folk lair is so easy to run because they give you a roster of who's doing what in all 50 rooms, condensed down to a single page. So smart. More of that, please. And who's in here is a freaking United Nations of underwater peoples. We've got Koalathan, Lokathan, merfolk, sea elves, all the difficult to pronounce nautical races coming together as one because the Sahaugen are rising up and making trouble for everybody. Again, maybe this just adds some cool variety to the waves of carnage your players are blazing through the land, but the book does a good job of preparing for that possibility, but also working to prevent it through a couple smart ways. Whether we are Kumbaya with the peoples of the ocean or we are going it alone, eventually we're going to go infiltrate the evil shark folk stronghold, again with a brilliant single page listing every room over 3 floors. I like this one because it's old school and being careful and clever is going to pay off way better than just defaulting to trying to solve every situation by rolling initiative. Again, there's a nice variety of monsters here, and I'm sure we're going to fight some of them, but it's the non-combat objectives that make this interesting in my eyes. We've also got Salvage Operation, which my buddy, GM Jim, is doing a deep dive on for Kraken Week. It's kind of your standard get the treasure by going deeper down vibe, only it's a ship, and then that ship gets attacked by a kraken. Okay, it's a giant octopus, but still a huge tentacled beast the party has no hope of defeating in a fight. So instead, we get a skill challenge and a big, scary ticking clock to get off this sinking ship with the treasure and our lives. Now, that's about half of what's going on in here. There's an abbey on an island where an evil cult just got nearly wiped out by pirates, which I like to tie to the 9th level adventure where a shipwreck has unsealed the gateway to the realm of Orcus, and oopsie, now there's legions of zombie pirates attacking the shore in waves. We get ideas to actually spin that one up to further high-level adventures like Death Fleet, the Devouring Gyre, or Island of Bones. But I really like the last adventure in here, the Styes, where a town is being terrorized by a serial killer, which turns out it's actually an Aboleth mind-controlling people. My friend Brad over on Dire Den is covering Aboleths for Kraken Week. Definitely watch that one because they are great upper-level baddies that really deliver those otherworldly, cosmic, creepy vibes. And this Aboleth here is all twisted up with the Residune, one of my favorite evil deities that also brings the flavor like few others I find. And these Aboleths, they got themselves a juvenile Kraken, baby, which is still a huge challenge and is sure to grow up and get even scarier if it gets the chance. Now, if you want things to be a little more cohesive here, we can have the Sahaugen being displaced by the evil Orcus pirates and swap out the Residune for Orcus at the end. And doing this gives us a nice through line that can even stretch back to Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. Like I said, I love the Residune and put them in my homebrew all the time. So what you could also do is have the Styes happening in Saltmarsh while the players have been away for a while, and then they're really going to care as you get to kill all their darlings and prop them back up like diseased meat puppets. Yar. Go get you some oceanic adventures and check out the Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Link in the description to pick up your copy in physical, if you're lucky, still, or digital, and that's how some of us like them anyway. Links into the AM down there, Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, and my Patreon, of course, is down there too. And while I'm pointing this way, hit like, hit subscribe, and tell us about your favorite parts of Kraken Week so far. Please, 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 down in the comments below. Let's make this thing a huge success so we can all do it again next year. Spread the love, share the playlist. For even more nautical nonsense, go please check these out. Big thanks to Ginny D and Antonio from Pointy Hat for making this thing happen, and thanks to you out there for watching and sharing. Be kind and have fun. Happy Kraken Week.